After two wonderful, uh, remarkable nights in Sheraton in Camisea, I picked up a boat that I had rented for a month and a half with 400 liters of fuel that were absolutely just enough to do the route I had to do because there was no refueling or no support at all at the time. And I went around alone. I always go alone on the first movements that we go into a project like that on a remote region or a dangerous region. I always go alone because I want to know what are the risks in the region before I submit anybody else in the team at those risks. I'll take them first, and I'll have experience, and obviously it's my obligation to do that, not submit anybody to a risk that I wouldn't take. And picked up the boat. Half the time was raining like it is today. Yeah, I'll show you later. There's a lot of rain here today, and I love the noise, and it was nice because it was very warm, and I would sleep either on the tents of the indigenous or in the beaches on the where we stopped the boat between visits to villages, but always obviously on a hammock off the ground. You never sleep on the ground in a place like that. You put on a hammock, and the hammock has a little cover and nets for mosquitoes. Yeah, it's nice. It's comfortable. You can sleep nicely. I don't mind. I sleep anywhere. So I've went into those places to understand what was the social dynamics of the place, and I was very impressed because it was already very communal oriented. It was no individual thing. It was always what would be the best for the community. There was no individuals involved. So this facilitated the process. You don't have to form a whole generation before you start working. It was ready. So we accepted the challenge. We joined the company to implement what I think it's widely accepted, as the most successful project of its kind in the world, in a vicinity, in an area impacted by extractive natural resource project in the world. Very few people heard about Camisea because it never had a problem. If you have problems in a project like this, it hits the media big time. So we went on and we had meetings, workshops, several workshops, 404. And we had workshops with the chiefs, with the elderly, with the women, with the children and young, and then mixed them with the federations, and it was very interesting, the social dynamic. It was so complex, the governance of the region, that we had to go over 404 workshops over 3 years period of time. And towards the end of the workshop, the last ones, the conclusion ones, people would bring in their working tools, shovels and axes and things that work with, bows and arrows, which were the indigenous. Some of the indigenous work with that, and the non-indigenous, the Tupancamaro and the Shining Path guys, would bring AK-47s, a semi-automatic Russian machine gun, and they would bring them loaded, obviously. And I would argue, you can't bring a loaded gun to the meeting. And they said, well, Doc, why wouldn't we? Everybody else is bringing their other work tools, and this is our working tool. And well, they had a point. So I said, well, the compromise was that I would, everyone that would walk in, I would get the AK-47, take the chamber out, take the bullet off the main chamber, and put it back on, and give back the weapon. And whenever they left, I would give the bullet back, and they would put it back on the main chamber. And at the end of the meetings, everybody would raise their hats or raise their shovels and bow and arrows, celebrating the end of the process. And you could see in the back 15, 20 AK-47s. They just waving them up and celebrating the end of a very good project. To this day, the region is very peaceful. There's no issues. No roads were built according to what we all agreed. The company respected it. So there's no encroachment, there's no invasion, there's no deterioration. And Peru I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's 44% of the energy, of the power of Peru comes from that project, and the rest they liquefy on the pipeline that takes to the Pacific and export it. So it's a very important economic project to the country. They had very little, if no impact, into the region. We're very proud of it.